Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here today, this time with a Tier 6 Premium Medium Tank. This will be the Panzer IV-S with the special legendary skin, the TIE Fighter Space Fighter skin that is somehow corresponding to Star Wars, as you can kind of tell by the two side skirt that this tank has. Kind of looks like the solar panels on the TIE Fighters. I am a huge Star Wars fan, so when I saw that this was back in the shop after I recovered from last night, which was the last day of finals, thank God, I had to go out and buy it, and I played 15 or so matches in it, and I think I have some really awesome uh, first impressions on this tank. I really, really, really like it. Um, it has a very amazing gun. The gun is an amazing medium tank gun for this tier. Your turret was surprisingly bouncy, as you guys will see in some of the gameplay. The mobility wasn't outstanding, the whole armor wasn't outstanding, but at the same time, this tank really puts out a lot of damage. It has a very good DPM with I am sitting at a 4.4 second reload for a 75 millimeter. We will take a look at the stats, how they kind of rank up against all the medium tanks at tier 6. Quick look at the armor profile so you guys can see what's up, and then we'll go into 2 bits of gameplay. Again, like I said, I've only played 14 games in this, but I'm sitting at a 71% win rate with almost 1600 average damage. Yeah, it's a fun tank. Don't get shot at by KV2s with it, and don't get hit by KV2s, but other than that, it's a very nice tank, very fun. It makes credits because it's a tier 6 premium tank. Puts that damage very quickly, and let's get into the stats then. Alrighty guys, we are here now for the stats rundown portion of my first look videos. So at first we are going to take a look at what equipment. I currently have mine equipped with the hit point boost, just because I think hit point's a little bit better for tanks that have meh armor than the armor boost, but I will run another 20 games or so after I do the first 20 run down. I'll switch over to the armor and let you guys know if anything changes. I will go to gun laying drive because this tank already has pretty good shell velocity. Not the best, and running supercharge is definitely an amazing thing to do. So you could do it either way. I'm definitely gonna have to recommend traverse speeds equipment because this tank is slightly sluggish turning, including the turning of the turret. Um, Vertical stabilizer or the accuracy mod, you could really choose either one. I mean, again, personally I go to V-stabs because I do a lot of moving and shooting with this tank, or just slight wiggling in and out of cover. I do repair, and then I do consumable delivery system, obviously, adrenaline over engine boost, obviously. Alright, we're going to take a look now at the hit points starting off. We're going to be sitting at 1,007 hit points, although that is rounded up to 1,010 in game. That's kind of weird. Your view range is pretty good at 278.8 meters. DPM is top notch for a medium tank at tier 6. You're sitting at over 2,000 average damage. To put that in perspective, one of the new leaked premium heavy or premium medium tanks at tier 8, like the T-34-3, that Chinese 122 millimeter armed medium tank that was leaked a little while ago. That has less than 2,000 DPM. So this tank has grade A quality DPM, and you can shoot yourself out of a lot of situations. Your penetration is sitting at 150 millimeters, which is excellent for tier 6 medium. This is a very, very, very good penetration number. You really won't need to dab that 2 key too much if you're playing PC or hit the APCR, because it does have APCR as premium rounds. But 160 alpha is not the greatest, but it is kind of standard at tier 6 aside from those Russian medium tanks. Um, Velocity, if you're running the supercharge, which I'm not, you're sitting at 925 meters per second. Caliber, 75 millimeter. Rate of fire, 13 rounds per minute. 4.4 second reload, which is amazing. Gun handling, you're sitting at 1.72 aim time. Your dispersion factors are all pretty good, middle of the pack. Definitely not anything terrible. Well, rotating the turret is actually pretty good as well. Gun depression, you have 10 degrees of gun depression. I think that is all over the tank. 20 degrees of gun elevation, not the best, but 10 degrees isn't anything like the Cromwell B or anything like that, but at the same time, it's better than something like the T-34-85 Victory or anything like that. Your turret traverse is one of the biggest letdowns on this tank. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been COD'd by a French light tank like an ELC and a 12T or 1375, and my gun just almost couldn't catch up with them. Uh, your weight, you're sitting at 30 tons, so you are fairly good at ramming. You are pretty slow, only having 44 km/h top speed. 18 backwards, pretty good for a medium tank. Your effective horsepower to ton is 17, 15, and 9, so nothing spectacular there. Your traverse speed, again, is pretty low, all things considered. So you might want to take that in mind. You could be COD'd by some of the really insanely maneuverable tanks down here that you'll see at tier 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to take a look now at the armor. So frontally, you can see that this tank has some 80mm sections, has some 32mm sections, albeit well sloped, but those can be overmatched by big 152mm guns firing AP. Yeah, you're not going to bounce a ton of stuff off your hull. You do have two side skirts, which are very good. They are 37mm thick, which means that they are theoretically thicker than the side of your tank, which means that if you do set up defensively to side scrape, the rear half of your armor might be able to tank some shots. You might be able to bounce some shots into your armor, but if you over angle, you will get penned fairly easily-ish. I think the best part of the armor on this tank is actually its turret. It has 129mm of frontal turret armor, a pretty big and very troll mantlet, and then has these cheeks, while somewhat thin, all things considered. So if you show the side of them, they are thin, but if you show the front profile, using your 10 degrees of gun depression, you have a fairly good turret profile. You're sitting at almost 150mm, and this tank has 150mm pen, so they really have to aim to hit your cheeks and stuff. And if you're moving back and forth, they might derp into the side. You do have a cupola, which is a weak spot, but not as much of a weak spot as you might think. If you're going to be shooting one of these things, just shoot it in the hole. You'll penetrate most times. Have gotten a couple of troll bounces with my hole, but nothing too spectacular. Anyways, guys, we're going to hop into the first bit of gameplay, and then another bit of gameplay, and then do a final discussion, and I'll see you guys at the gameplay. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are here now for the first bit of gameplay. This was the first match I had ever played in the Panzer IV-S. I had just spent a little bit of the gold that you got from the bundle to get the equipment slots. I really wish our gaming would continue with a couple of their trends that they have done where they give the tanks with some of the slots unlocked. I think that would be an awesome idea on their part, and it would entice some people to buy some of those premium tanks. Fairly long queue time here, but we do eventually get into battle. We will be on dead rail. I will be top tier. A couple of fairly dangerous tanks on the enemy team, including that KV-2. The ARL V39 isn't anything to sneeze at either. I was just looking at this tank. I think it looks really good. Like I said, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I like this camouflage skin on this tank. But I'm also a huge fan of this tank just on principle. Get an idea here of some of the base mobility on this tank. The MT-25 is pulling away fairly hard, same with the ELC. I kind of reach my top speed here, and then that VK on my side starts pulling away from me. You almost cut me off, so at this point I was just like, alright, fine, you can get on the hill. The soft terrain here, meaning that I'm not really able to climb the hill as effectively as I really want to. Mobility is not all that great on this tank. Immediately an enemy TD is lit up here, caught out of position. MT-25 is unloading with that new autoloader. I actually do pick up the kill. I managed to ninja a kill there, so we start off one tank up. T-67 is just out in the open. I am just starting to unload now, so I don't quite get a second shot off, but I do have 4.4 second reload, which will come in useful later on for putting in quick follow-up shots. Just looking to see if any of those heavy tanks are out in the open to get shots on. Panzer IV gets lit up over there. I'm seeing if I can get a shot to that M6. Almost, maybe, no. Notice the Panzer IV comes out. He has the dirt gun. I put one into the back of his tank, damage his engine, which means he keeps rolling down that slight slope, so I don't quite get another shot in. I'm wary of this V39 getting shots on my side. I see the MT-25 going in. He lights the Panzer IV up again, and I know he won't be able to clip the Panzer IV, and he could get really damaged if that Panzer IV manages to put a HE round. Go for an on-the-move shot, miss the V39 there. MT25 is now on a clip reload. I pop up, get the kill. I'm going to spin around, try to get a shot or two into any tank that I can. Use concealment, cover. MT25 is playing chicken with that ARL. Puts 1, 2, maybe 3 into him before dying. I get a nice shot into the M6 here. I'm now going to go for some sneaky through the train shots into this guy. I don't quite get a damaging hit on him. It says it went through, but I think I just damaged his track. I'm going to go look for another shot onto that M6, but he's solidly behind a building. At this point, it is 2 versus 4. So I'm very, very, very worried. M6 is now a one-shot. I'm looking for a kill, put one to the side of his turret. V39 pops out, puts one into me. I know I have to 1v1 him and get him out. I try to get a track and a damaging shot with the track, but I don't quite manage it. I'm going to auto-aim onto him because he doesn't have a ton of armor. You can see the slow turret traverse there means my gun was actually taken off of the vehicle. I'm willing to take another hit from him. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have done that. I'm going to take auto aim off just to make sure this one goes through. So I eat 2 shots. So now I'm a theoretical 1 shot if the KV-1S high rolls. I'm going to try to link up with my other teammate. We have a decent amount of DPM, and those are Russian heavy tanks. We might be able to draw out some shots and focus fire one of them down, but he decides to go on a full YOLO spree into a KV-2 and a KV-1S. At this point, I didn't know that KV-1S did not have the 122mm gun on him, but you can see that he just gets absolutely wrecked by the KV-1S and the KV-2 over there. I put 1 shot into that KV-2. I'm just going to try to back up. I get pops up. I'm fighting a 1 versus 2 here versus 2 heavy tanks, so I'm willing to try and trade. So I know the KV-2 is going to come back out at some point, so I'm willing to bet that my gun handling is better, and the KV-1S actually pops out and takes the shot and misses his. So I'm just gonna sit here, start rotating around 360 degrees. He goes off the mini map, which means I know that I'm unspotted as well. So I'm gonna use my somewhat decent mobility, but somewhat poor mobility to try to get over here onto this flank. I see the cap goes off, which means that there are at least 2 of them in there for the rate that it is going up. One tank leaves the cap. The other tank is going to leave the cap here in a second. So I was going to go to this bush to see if I could get shots into any tanks that are over there. I noticed the cap zone is going off, so I'm pretty sure that means that they're going to be going up to that main hill. I don't spot anything, which means that they're not pushing over to this way, so I'm going to try to get as far to the side as I can. Again, the Russian heavy tanks, which means that they don't quite have that much view range. My team is telling me to hide. They get lit up here. I don't get spotted. So I see that I have a shot. The KV-1S is my priority. I put 1 into him. I keep driving. Then I was like, hey, he's driving backwards. I might be able to get another shot into him. At this point, I was having some lag. So I almost missed getting the kill on that KV-1S, but I do get the kill on him, and I'm going to book it. At this point, I should not have gone. This is where I make the game-losing mistake, or potentially game-losing mistake, of where I should have kept going to the back corner and used my view range to pick apart and snipe on the KV-2, because his tank is not very good at long range. Instead, I go into the city area in a tank that has really bad track and turret traverse, get spotted up, miss one into the KV-2. I was willing to bet that I could snapshot better than him. I should have just ran away here because he gets unspotted. The poor track traverse means that I don't quite have enough mobility to play COD with him. He's pushing hard in the soft terrain, the poor, just a lot of bad things here. I made a mistake. I get killed by KV-2. But I had a pretty good impact that game. 5 kills with my first match. I didn't have a premium account on at this point, but I still made 30,000 credits. 2.6k is not bad. I'm going to give the KV-2 a thumbs up. He did a pretty good match. But yeah, 5 kills, 2.6k. And we're going to now move into the second match. At this point, I am platooned up with Zax, who is in 501 AU with me. This is a short match, but fairly exciting. One of our tanks calls over to the left. I don't want to go that way. I'm a medium tank. You should really go to this side of the map in PUBG matches, especially if you have more mediums than the enemy team does. But for what it's worth, I have one of the most broken tank destroyers platooned with me who can, in between the two of us, we could probably DPM to death half the enemy team at this point. I'm going to get to a place and try to get hold down. I'm just willing to and content to let the enemy team drive into our guns. They do that. First tank pops up. It's an easy 8. He drives out sideways in front of me. I derp the shell into the rock. I'm going to use my pretty decent side skirts and turret. He has like 135 millimeters pen. I put 1 into him. He misses. I know I have enough DPM to put 2 into him. Zax is set up at this point and is starting to put out some effective fire. That guy's going to go down fairly quickly here. We have a tank that drives out in front of a lot of enemy team. A Hellcat. I'm able to put 1 and briefly set that Panzer IV Anko on fire. I can only imagine the driver's frustration with that anime stuff. Missed shot there into that Jackson. I think I bounced, but managed to put another one into him. Bounce a shot from him. Again, I'm just kind of using basic hold down tactic here. I have 10 degrees of gun depression, a decent turret, a troll turret. Really good DPM. I'm going to peek out here, try to help my Hellcat. Miss a shot there on the Anko, which frustrated me at the time. I'm going to put another one into him. Notice the tank pops up on my flank. Bounces on me. I bounce off him, off that troll armor. I'm going to use this area to kind of go hold down. I have better DPM than him. My platoon mate tells me to focus on the enemy Jackson. I put 1 into him. Dodge the return fire from that AC-4 Sentinel. I'm going to use my gun depression and good aim time and pen to go through the turret of that AMX. Now me and my platoon mate are trying to DPM death this AC, but my platoon mate was focused on a cruiser over there. So I'm just going to get into a straight up DPM fight with this guy. I have more health. I have more DPM. I did not count on him having friends, but I managed to dodge one of his shells inadvertently. Get a low roll there. A little bit of a low roll, which I wasn't happy about, but I do get a kill on him. 12T cannot clip me at this point. Put 1 into him. He's firing pram at me. Puts 2 into me. I bounce off his upper plate because that tank has a really troll upper plate, but at this point, I know I can beat his clip reload. He's driving backwards. He's the last tank alive. Put another one into him. I'm going to give him a little love bump here and get the kill right through his upper plate. 2 kills for me, 2 kills for my platoon mate. Stayed alive, bounced some shots, got hold down. Very quick match, and I was able to very quickly rack up 2.7 thousand damage and a grand total of 106,000 credits. A first class, high caliber. The credits does include a mission, but again, I did a lot of damage with shots fired. I bounced a couple of shots, so I could have done theoretically more. But yeah, this tank has a lot of DPM. It's a pretty troll turret. Mobility is not the best, but all in all, I really, really, really like this tank. It's one of my favorite tier 6 tanks at the moment. It's fun to play. It looks pretty good. It has a very good gun, and it makes credits. So what more could you ask for from a tier 6 premium tank? It's not a Bromwell. It doesn't have 13 degrees of gun depression all around, but at the same time, it has 10 degrees and has really good penetration and a pretty good turret. So that's mostly what I want. I like it. I'll keep playing it. Might do a tank full-on dedicated tank review if you guys want to see that. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in and watching this. If you are subscribed, thank you. If you're new to the channel, please give me a subscribe and a like. Try to cover all the new content when it comes out. So if you guys have anything you want to see, leave it in the comments down below. I do ask that you consider supporting me on Patreon. I don't have any Patreons yet, but at the same time, I'm wanting to try to build a small base of people to help support me, maybe do monthly giveaways now, as well as to get some more upgrades to my editing software to kind of do some more complicated stuff. But if you guys can't, no worries. If you can, I please ask that you consider it. The link is in the description below. Join me on my Discord. Link is below in the description for that. Thank you guys so much. Y'all are awesome, and have a good day.